The Senate Committee on Gas Resources probing the 135 billion naira Central Bank of Nigeria's Gas Intervention Fund has said it will invite anti-graft agencies to join in the ongoing investigation. The panel gave the threat when the affected companies, numbering 14, appeared before it on Thursday to defend the utilization of the CBN loans they collected. The lawmakers described as unacceptable the alleged lack of synergy between the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the CBN on the project. They also queried the discriminatory disbursement of the funds to the beneficiaries and wonder why some firms collected more than 10 billion naira credit limit. The chairman of the committee, Senator Jarigbe, collected the records of the beneficiaries and the locations of their project sites for immediate investigations. Jarigbe lamented that the funds released under the Gas Expansion and Intervention Fund were inappropriately accessed. The Lagos State Chamber of Commerce and Industry has challenged the federal government on the need to scale up the performance of the capital expenditure in the proposed 2024 budget. LCCI gave the charge in reaction to the proposed 2024 budget of 27.5 trillion naira presented to the National Assembly by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday. In a statement on Thursday, Director General LCCI, Dr. Chinyere Aloma, noted that the proposed 2024 budget is the biggest in the country's history, while highlighting some recommendations for implementation. She said the government must improve its budget performance in terms of capital expenditure in 2024, noting that over the years, the performance of the capital expenditure has been very low relative to the recurrent expenditure, with implications for the country's infrastructure sector. LCCI also noted that relative to Nigeria's GDP size, the proposed budget is 12.2%, which is very low compared to its African peers like South Africa, with a government expenditure to GDP ratio of 32.5%, Egypt 24.7%, Kenya 23.0%, and Ghana 27.1%. Minister of Power Chief Adebayo Adelabu Thursday said the objective of making the 2023 Electricity Act is to improve energy supply. He vowed that the citizenry would soon record improved power supply nationwide. Adelabu stated this at the third workshop of the Power Correspondent Association of Nigeria in Abuja. The theme of the workshop was resolving Nigeria's power crisis, the implication of the Electricity Act 2023. According to him, considering all factors, especially within the liberalization of the sector, Nigerians will soon start to experience the objective that led to the act, which is to improve power supply across the country. He noted that a key part of the 2023 Electricity Act is the development of the Integrated National Electricity Policy and Strategy Implementation Plan. A National Bureau of Statistics report has shown that 69.2% of households in Nigeria were left in hunger due to the impact of flood in 2022 to 2023. The survey report, titled Nigeria Flood Impact, Recovery and Mitigation Assessment Report for 2022 to 2023, released Thursday, also showed that 52% of households in the flood-affected areas recorded total loss of business and income. The NBC report stated that overall 49% of the household reported having had their main sources of food affected by the floods, with households in rural areas 60% more impacted than those in urban areas, 23%. For many households, the floods caused food insecurity, with 60% reported experiencing hunger, 69 8.2% experiencing food shortage, and 84.9% unable to eat a healthy, nutritious meal due to the impact of floods. According to the NBC, overall 64% of households were affected by the floods in 2022, with advanced impact on livelihood, housing, food sources, and access to basic services such as health facilities and schools. The Central Bank of Nigeria has directed its branches nationwide to continue issuing and accepting old and new Naira notes to and from deposit money banks. This directive follows the Supreme Court's acceptance of the prayer of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation to extend the use of old Naira banknotes going forward. In March, the Supreme Court ordered that the old 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira remain legal tender till December 31st, 2023, following the redesign of these denominations. At the backdrop of the approach of this deadline, many commercial and individual transactions began to witness scarcity despite assurances from the CBN that it would continue to accept all denominations of the notes, both old and redesigned, beyond the deadline. Subsequently, the AGF had approached the Supreme Court to obtain a legal backing for this position of the central bank. Nigeria's Deposit Insurance Corporation has thrown its weight behind the proposed recapitalization of banks, saying the country needs bigger banks to achieve the vision of a $1 trillion economy. Managing Director of NDIC, Mr. Bello Hassan, stated this in Owerri, Imo State, while addressing journalists on the sideline of the annual workshop organized by the Corporation for Business Editors and Finance Correspondents. Hassan said while the banking industry is sound in terms of key indicators, namely capital adequacy, liquidity, earnings, and quality of assets, achieving a $1 trillion economy requires bigger banks.